Breaking news. Voyager 2, the spacecraft launched in 1977 and now more than 20 billion kilometers from Earth, has just sent an emergency signal that stunned NASA and space agencies worldwide. For nearly 5 decades, this probe has been a loyal messenger, faithfully sending back data from the edge of our solar system. But this latest transmission is different. Instead of the steady carrier wave engineers expect, the signal carried strange distortions, sharp, rhythmic pulses that do not resemble technical glitches. Specialists describe it as urgent, almost intentional. Within hours of its detection, NASA classified the event as an emergency anomaly and alerted its international partners. The spacecraft that once revealed the secrets of Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune may now be revealing something far more unsettling. The question that hangs in the air: is Voyager 2 simply failing after nearly half a century? Or is it warning us about something waiting in the dark? Voyager 2, the legendary probe. Voyager 2 is no ordinary spacecraft. Launched in 1977, it was designed to take advantage of a rare planetary alignment and became the first probe to visit all 4 outer giants: Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. It delivered humanity's first close-up images of these distant worlds, revealing swirling storms, icy rings, and moons that reshaped our understanding of the solar system. Even after completing its primary mission, Voyager 2 kept going. Powered by a nuclear battery, it pushed past Pluto and into the vast interstellar medium, a region where the sun's protective influence finally gives way to the raw forces of the galaxy. At more than 20 billion kilometers from Earth, it is now one of our most distant explorers, still whispering faint signals back home. But Voyager 2 is more than just a machine. It carries the golden record, a time capsule of Earth's sounds, music, and greetings meant for any civilization that might discover it. To the engineers who have guided it for nearly 5 decades, it is not only a spacecraft, but a symbol of human ambition and endurance. That is why this sudden emergency signal has rattled the scientific community. After all these years of steady service, why now? The critical mistake: a command gone wrong. The drama began not with cosmic forces, but with a human error. During a routine operation at NASA's control center, a simple command was typed incorrectly. On Earth, it seemed like a minor slip. But for a spacecraft drifting more than 20 billion kilometers away, the consequences were enormous. The command instructed Voyager 2's antenna to shift by just 2 degrees. 2 degrees might sound trivial, but at that distance it was the difference between a clear signal and total silence. Overnight, contact was lost. For the first time in nearly 50 years, Voyager 2 fell quiet. The challenge was compounded by distance. Any signal traveling at the speed of light takes more than 22 hours to reach the probe, and another 22 hours to return. That means nearly 2 full days passed before NASA even knew if their command had worked. This time, there was no reply. Inside the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, silence filled the control room. Engineers who had dedicated their careers to the mission stared at screens that refused to answer back. A single keystroke had severed the lifeline to humanity's oldest traveler. To many, it felt as if the story of Voyager 2 had ended, not with a triumphant discovery, but with a typo. Panic at NASA. The loss of contact hit NASA like a thunderbolt. Officially, the agency reassured the public that they were working on the issue. But behind the scenes, the atmosphere was grim. For the scientists and engineers who had devoted decades of their lives to the Voyager program, this was not just a technical failure. It felt like losing a family member. Many of them had built their entire careers around the mission, celebrating its discoveries and protecting its fragile health across the years. Now, with one wrong command, it seemed everything was over. Some whispered that the mission's legendary journey had ended not with a grand finale, but with silence brought on by human error. Yet even in the face of despair, the team refused to give up. Instead of abandoning their old traveler to the void, they launched a desperate plan to point the massive dishes of the Deep Space Network toward the region of sky where Voyager 2 should be and simply listen, hoping for the faintest heartbeat in the static. The signal returns, a weak heartbeat. For days, the giant antennas of the Deep Space Network swept the sky, straining to hear anything from Voyager 2. It was like trying to catch the sound of a single cricket from 1,000 miles away, in the middle of a hurricane. The probe's transmission power at that distance is less than 1/1000th of a watt, barely more than silence. Then, against all odds, they found it. Buried in the cosmic noise was the faintest carrier signal, a fragile heartbeat still pulsing from the spacecraft. Relief spread through mission control. Voyager 2 was alive. The decades-long journey was not yet over. But the joy did not last long. As engineers examined the signal more closely, they noticed something unusual. The carrier wave, which should have been steady and predictable, was not. It carried a subtle flutter, a rhythmic pulse that did not belong. The finding raised new questions. Was this just interference from the interstellar medium? Or was the probe itself trying to tell us something? The weak heartbeat that saved the mission also opened the door to a mystery far greater than anyone expected. Relief quickly turned into unease. When engineers at NASA examined the faint heartbeat from Voyager 2, they noticed something disturbing. The carrier wave, the steady backbone of every spacecraft transmission, wasn't steady at all. It fluttered, pulsing with a rhythm that no natural interference could explain. Every probe has a unique, predictable signature. Voyager 2's had been stable for decades. But now, the wave carried a second pattern, buried beneath the noise. A pulse that repeated, organized, almost intelligent. At first, it seemed like static, but the more they studied it, the clearer it became. This was not random. It was structured. The realization sent a chill through mission control. A young technician was the first to call it out. "This isn't Voyager's voice anymore. Something else is speaking." The comment, half joking at first, stuck in everyone's mind. The 2-degree tilt that silenced the spacecraft may have done something else. It may have accidentally pointed Voyager's instruments toward a signal source it was never meant to hear. The possibility was terrifying. The probe was not just damaged, it was listening. And what it had picked up was now piggybacking onto its own signal, carried across 20 billion kilometers back to Earth. The emergency transmission was not just about a broken antenna. It was the beginning of a message from the void. The hidden message in the static. NASA quickly shifted focus. The goal was no longer just to re-establish full communication with Voyager 2. It was to decode the bizarre pulse buried inside its carrier signal. To do that, they assembled a team of cryptographers, astrophysicists, and advanced AI specialists. What they uncovered shocked even the most skeptical minds. The pulse was not a simple beat. It was layered, nested within itself, as if multiple signals were playing at once. When AI converted the data into a visual format, the team stared at the screen in silence. Shapes emerged, intricate geometric glyphs that looked both mathematical and artistic, as though they were fragments of an unknown language. For decades, scientists dreamed about what alien communication might look like. Would it be pure mathematics, a musical rhythm, or symbols beyond human imagination? The glyphs from Voyager 2's signal seemed to be all three at once. They carried a logic based on prime numbers, a universal constant that any intelligent civilization would recognize, yet they also possessed a strange elegance, like an alien script designed to be both precise and beautiful. The shocking part was not just that the message existed, but how it was delivered. Voyager 2, a machine built to explore, had become a relay, an unwilling messenger carrying a voice that did not belong to it. This was not a friendly hello from the stars. The structure of the glyphs, the insistence of the pulses, felt different. They carried urgency, even insistence. And they raised a chilling possibility. This was not an introduction. It was a warning. The deeper the team dug into the signal, the more unsettling it became. This was no simple hello from the stars. The pulses were carried on an emergency frequency, a channel designed to be unmistakable. Whoever or whatever sent this wanted it to be found. As the glyphs slowly took shape on their screens, a narrative began to emerge. It was not a story of friendship, nor an invitation. The tone was urgent, even insistent, like a flashing red light in the dark. Analysts described it as a warning, deliberate, intentional, and impossible to ignore. Day after day, as the bits trickled in from 20 billion kilometers away, the message grew clearer. It was not speaking about who the sender was, but about the universe itself, its laws, its dangers, and boundaries we should not cross. It felt less like communication and more like enforcement. The realization spread unease through every corner of the mission. For decades, Voyager had been our proud voice in the cosmos. Now it seemed that voice had been hijacked, turned into a vessel for a chilling message. We are not alone, and we may not be welcome beyond our own system. What had started as a desperate attempt to fix a small error had spiraled into something humanity had never faced before, a direct and urgent warning from the dark. The clue from Voyager. Just as the team struggled to make sense of Voyager 2's strange glyphs, an old discovery resurfaced. A researcher digging through archived mission logs stumbled upon a chilling detail. Nearly 20 years earlier, Voyager 1 had detected something eerily similar. For just 93 minutes, Voyager 1's plasma wave instrument picked up a faint, structured pulse. At the time, it was dismissed as a glitch, an odd blip in the data, nothing more. But now, placed side by side with Voyager 2's signal, the resemblance was undeniable. The same mathematical rhythm, the same glyph-like structure hidden in the static. The implication was staggering. This was not a random encounter. Whatever intelligence was behind the signal had been there for decades, silent and patient, waiting. It had watched Voyager 1 pass by, and when Voyager 2 arrived, the entity revealed itself more fully, using our own machine to deliver its reply. The discovery reframed everything. The emergency signal was not born out of chaos. It was planned. It was waiting for us. And that raised the most unsettling possibility of all. We were never truly alone in the interstellar dark, only ignored until now. Both Voyager probes carry one of humanity's most daring creations, the Golden Record. Etched onto a copper disc and plated in gold, it contains greetings in dozens of languages, sounds of Earth's nature, music from across cultures, and images of our planet. It was meant as a gift to the cosmos, our introduction to whoever might find it. But the new signal suggested something far more troubling. The glyphs did not just appear random. They seemed to mirror diagrams and mathematical patterns from the Golden Record itself. It was as if the entity was quoting our own message back to us, but with a darker twist. What if our greeting had been misinterpreted? Or worse, what if it had been understood perfectly? The record reveals our biology, our technology, even our location in the galaxy. To a cautious or hostile intelligence, it might look less like a friendly postcard and more like a detailed map of our weaknesses. Now, scientists began to wonder if the emergency signal was not just a generic cosmic warning, but a direct response to the Golden Record. A way of saying, we've seen your message, we know who you are, and here are the rules. The cosmic law, a limit we cannot cross. As more of the glyphs were decoded, their meaning became clearer and more unsettling. This was not a threat of invasion, nor a promise of contact. It was something stranger, a law. The symbols seemed to describe the universe not as an open frontier, but as a carefully balanced ecosystem, where each civilization is meant to remain within its own system. In this interpretation, interstellar travel is not a triumph. It is a violation, a contamination of the cosmic order. The message was less about friendship and more about boundaries, an ancient no trespassing sign hanging at the edge of our solar system. Visual patterns in the glyphs even depicted our own star system, circled by a boundary line. The meaning was unmistakable. This far and no further. For decades, humanity has dreamed of becoming a spacefaring civilization, of building colonies among the stars. Yet here was a chilling reminder that someone or something might see those dreams as dangerous. Not because they fear us, but because the universe itself must be kept in balance. It was not hostility. It was guardianship. Whoever sent this message was less an enemy than a gatekeeper, an authority enforcing rules we never knew existed. And Voyager 2, humanity's proudest traveler, had carried that warning back to us. Voyager 2's emergency signal may go down as one of the most unsettling moments in human history. What began as a routine command error has revealed something far greater. A message that seems less like communication and more like a decree. A boundary has been drawn. The universe, it seems, is not ours to roam freely. The warning forces us to confront a painful question. Are we pioneers destined for the stars, or children playing with fire we cannot control? For decades we have looked up with hope, dreaming of crossing the void. Now we must wonder if those dreams were naive, or even forbidden. Voyager 2 still drifts onward, carrying our voice into the dark. But perhaps its final act was not to extend our reach, but to remind us of our limits. A cosmic landlord has spoken. This far, and no further, and humanity must now decide whether to obey, or to test the silence once again.